Hello everybody, this is Booty Bopper, and today I'm going to do something that I have teased several times. Well, maybe teased is the wrong way to put it. It's not like I've been whispering gently in your ear and getting you excited for everything that's to come. No, this is something that I have mentioned a handful of times on my streams, and today I want to go ahead and introduce it. So, I think one of the things that we are lacking in the Fire Emblem community is really dumb challenges. We have some things, randomizers, 0% growths, but those are all things that you need external hardware for. You need to patch games, you need to do all this, that, and the other. We need raw, vanilla challenges, and challenges that are aggressive and cruel and bad and terrible. So, this is my submission to that, what I believe is a missing aspect of how we approach these games. So, this is a wheel that I have entitled Fun is for Casuals. It is been a collaborative project up to this point, from me, Midnight Cowboy, and Iron Colon, the usual people that you see on Drunk Emblem. And essentially what this wheel is, and the way that it works, is that every time you start a new chapter in whatever game you're playing, you spin the wheel, and the conditions that it puts on the board that you get, you have to play that chapter under those conditions. So, this wheel is divided into 4 separate categories. One is deployment conditions, so telling you who you can deploy. The other is battle conditions, telling you what actions you can or cannot do or have to do during the battle. Number 3 is the get bent category, which is something that the game is doing just to be cruel, something that the wheel does just to punish you for no reason. And 4 is the double Jeopardy category, which essentially is about half of the board is comprised of tiles called double Jeopardy. If you land on double Jeopardy, you have to spin the wheel twice and take 2 conditions into the chapter. In the description of this video, you will find the list of all of these challenges with a description of what they mean. And you can copy it, you can put it on your own wheel, you can do this yourself, you can have a lot of fun with it. And the other thing that I want is that if you come up with any categories, any conditions that you would like to see on the wheel, suggest them in the comments for everybody else. And I may add them to the official list if I like them, and I might just put them on there anyway, just so that people have choice. You can feel free to customize your wheel however you want. Add more double Jeopardies, add less, take conditions off. One rule that I like to play with Fun is for Casuals is that when something is picked, it comes off of the wheel until you exhaust the wheel, then you refresh it with all the options back on. But you can do it however you want. I have actually played with Fun is for Casuals about halfway through Sacred Stones. And, oh, it is a treat. It really is. So, without further ado, I'm going to go through these and explain what all of the different categories that I and Midnight Cowboy and Iron Colon have come up with before you all have the chance to suggest your own as well. And as usual, I do want to throw out there that right now, I sometimes mention at the front of these type of videos whatever music it is I'm jamming to, because I can't talk here to myself. I'll drive myself crazy. I'm going full-on Kentucky this time, listening to some good old country music, southeastern country music, listening to Lucero, Justin Townes, Earl. Listen to them. They're great. I was listening to Jason Isbell before this, and that stuff is too sad. His album Southeastern is fantastic, but it just makes me depressed. I'm the type of person that gets really night depressed. And it's dark so often now, like I'm so depressed I could barely even blink right now. But it's dark out, there's snow on the ground. I love the smell of snow as it seeps in through the windows. So that combined with the dark, I'm very bittersweet. So, got to throw on some tunes from the decrepit, dying part of the country that I live in. So, without further ado, let's get into Fun is for Casuals. Which we all know is true. Fun is definitely for casuals. So the first thing we got to do is go over the deployment categories. These include room to grow. This is where you deploy units from the lowest level, starting from level 1 unpromoted, and deploying up. So you deploy your lowest level units, your 12 lowest level units or your 8 lowest level units, however many you get to bring, you deploy them. High tier, this is one of the few very kind ones. Just bring the best characters. Hey, that's nice. If you get high tier by itself, you have a pretty easy chapter. If you get high tier in double Jeopardy, who knows? It might still be a pain. But wanted to throw you a bone right there with that one. I think that one's nice. Sometimes the wheel gotta give before it taketh away. Then we got waifus only and daddies/husbandos only. I think that one is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, waifus only. I think with both of these, there is a case to be made that you cannot include what would be crimes. We'll get to war crimes later, so like no children, but characters that would qualify as waifus and characters that would be daddies or husbandos. And you don't want me near any of the daddies because I get them all killed if you've seen any of my Iron Mans. Then you have magic is everything. This is where you deploy from the highest magic stat, descending. So, hey, you get to bring your strong mages and your good healers, but that's it. Pillar Men. The Pillar Men is where you bring your 3 highest strength units, and that's it. Nobody else can come. Your 3 units with the highest strength, and that's all you got. You're too slow. You start from your unit with the lowest speed and deploy up from there. So all your slowest units. Luck is the best stat. You start from your units that have the highest luck. You start from your unit that has the highest luck stat and deploy down from that. The Mile High Club, you can only bring flyers. This is probably more interesting in a game like Shadow Dragon, where you can just instantly reclass people and mess around with it. But in games with more limited casts, hey, look, you get to bring, Milady. And that's it. Shanna, Tate, I hope you like clearing that map. Then we got one of each class. You can go full on Pitfall here. You can't bring the double of any class. So 1 paladin, 1 mage, 1 healer, 1 Pegasus. And you can add further rules on top of that the way I like to think about this is only 1 of each class line. So you can't have a cav and a paladin. You can only have 1. So that one's up to interpretation, but that's the way I like to think about it. War crimes. This is where you bring characters that are below the age of 18, characters that would be a war crime if they were to actually fight in a real war. Something that would cause the lords of these games to be persecuted and likely hanged. Bring those characters and only those characters. Next you have I Was Born with Glass Bones and Paper Skin. This is where you start from your units with the lowest defense and deploy up. Then you have With the Master. Now With the Master is interesting because you're deploying units in pairs. So you take a promoted class and you bring them with an unpromoted version of that class. So you would bring Seth and Amelia. And you'd bring Saleh and Ewan. And you would bring Garcia and Ross. And all your units would have to be paired like that. Then you've got popular baby names. This is the final deployment one that we came up with, which is you bring characters that have actual common names that you would hear in day-to-day life. So Ross, Vanessa, but not Mulder, which is unfortunate because you always want to bring Mulder. So no Mulder, no Dussel, but you do get Seth. That's pretty good. No Pala, though. That kind of sucks. But at least you get Ryan. If you can't have Pala, you might as well have the next best thing, and that's Ryan. Now we got the second category, which is battle conditions. These are the things you have to do during battle. These are the actions you have to take. Full movement every turn. Every character has to move their full range of movement every single turn. No matter what. Oh boy. I hope you're ready to have fun, because movement is the best stat. But, as you may find out, it also means you have more ways to just get murdered. Then you have the coronavirus challenge. This is where your units can never end their turns in adjacent spaces to each other, so good luck on healing there. That will be fun, I think. 1v1 me, bro. This one's weird. 1v1 me, bro is basically the only enemy you can fight and kill in the map is the boss. So some games, like late game Shadow Dragon, is very easy. Just warp your boss killer, warp Marth, it's over. It's the way you play normally. Other times, you're going to have to figure out ways to take your big, strong units. Hopefully you have big, strong units. Maybe you got high tier or something. And you meat shield them all the way to the boss before your boss killer engages with the boss. Fun. Then you have weapon triangle disadvantage. Every single attack you make has to be at weapon triangle disadvantage. No attacking on player phase. This is a classic, one that I have done in Path of Radiance. You can check out parts 1 and parts 2 of my Path of Radiance no attacking on player phase runs. Very exciting. And you can learn all about how to cook steaks. You can watch an independent short film in the middle of part 2. It's great stuff. You can listen to Parked Out by the Lake. But in this one, you can never use the attack action on player phase. You have to do everything on enemy phase. Some games, it's not so bad. Sacred Stones, Path of Radiance. Path of Radiance is just annoying. But other games, Shadow Dragon, good luck. Foot Convoy. In Foot Convoy, your healers have decided that they don't want to heal anymore. They just want to lug around items. So your healers will become designated convoys that just carry around 5 items in their inventory that other characters can use. That's what they do. They can't heal, they can't use staffs, they can't do anything like that. Just carry items. And we got Hot Potato. This is my personal favorite on this wheel. In Hot Potato, you cannot use an item or a weapon 2 times in a row without trading it into another character's inventory and passing it back to yourself. So, for example, if Ross attacks with an Iron Axe on player phase, he can't attack with that axe again until it has been traded off of him and then back onto him. So you could use up a character's action to trade that item, or you could put him into a situation where he won't have enemy phase and do that. So if you want a character to enemy phase with a weapon they used on player phase, you're gonna have to use someone's turn to do a trade strat to get it off of them and then back onto them, which will be easy, but it'll chew up a player's turn. Or you have to trade the weapon off of them entirely and move it around, so the weapons have to be hot potatoed around. Then we got Hard Carry. If you're playing a game that has rescue as a feature, so, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, your units, your army has to be basically in 2 halves. 1 half is carrying the other half, so half of your units are just being saddlebagged. So you're just fighting with half an army, all with halved strength and speed, or halved speed and skill, I should say, which is, fun. That sounds fun to me. I don't know. If it doesn't sound fun to you, I don't know what's wrong with you. Fun is for casuals, so, we're not here to play baby Emblem. Ethical consumption is a weird one. Basically, any item you get in a map, you have to use it in that map or throw it away. So, the energy ring you steal with Calm in Chapter 5 of Sacred Stones, or Chapter 7 of Sacred Stones? I think it's 7. That you have to use in that map, and if you don't use it, you throw it away. You have to use up a weapon in that map, and if you don't use up the weapon entirely, you have to throw it away. You can't sell it unless it's in an item shop in the map. You just throw it away. So if you get, a droppable Night Crest, you better have somebody there who wants to promote, otherwise it's gone. For the kingdom, the boss has to be killed by the Lord. Pretty self-explanatory there, I think. Battle Cleric, your healers always have to move in attack range of enemies. So your healers got to be asking for it. They got to be egging it on. So healers are always in their turn in the range of enemies. Sleeping in, you cannot move any of your units for the first 3 turns of the map. For honor, anytime you attack an enemy, you must always be able to be retaliated against. So your mages will always be attacking at 1 range. You have to be using 2 range against archers. So you can't just run up in 1 range and stab an archer with a sword. You got to throw a jab at him. Fly fishing, you got to fish for crits the whole time. This is killer weapons only. You can't use anything else. Now, one like fly fishing and some of the others on here you might notice, they're not applicable to all stages of the game. So you can't get fly fishing if killer weapons haven't even been made available to you yet. But if you have killer weapons, that's the only thing you can use. You gotta spend the whole map fishing for crits. Steel Ball Run. This one is in here, and we came up with something for it. I do not remember what it was. And I checked my notes. It's not written down. I asked Midnight Cowboy and Iron Cole, and they couldn't remember what it is. But it's a JoJo reference, so I left it on the wheel. If you can come up with what Steel Ball Run is, let me know in the comments section, and I will add that description. Now we've got the Get Bent category. This is a final category that needs to be explained. So you have Liquidate Your Assets. This is where you have to sell everything that you have. Use it or sell it. So all your stat boosters, you got to use them. All your weapons, you got to sell them. And then you use those funds to buy replacement weapons. This is very bad. This is very awful. And the fact that Liquidate Your Assets is on the board does at least have the knock-on that you should probably be using your really powerful weapons when you have access to them, because you might not have access to them for very long. Same with promoting. Shopping spree. Spend all of your money. Spend all of it. Doesn't matter on what, just spend it all. Till you got literally nothing left. Until you can no longer buy the cheapest item in the game, which is probably, like, depending on the game, like, I don't know, a door key or a vulnerary or something. So, shopping spree. You got a problem? Spend everything. And then these 3 are basically kill your units. Sack 1 random. You have 1 unit that gets randomly killed by a wheel. Or a pick a name out of the hat generator. And you have sack 3 player choice. 3 characters die, but the player gets to choose. When I actually played Sacred Stones with this, I got sack 3 player choice on chapter 1, so I could only choose Seth, Gilliam, and Franz. It was very sad. I would like Gilliam to survive one of my runs one day, because he's the best, and his canonical pairing with Garcia is the most wholesome relationship in the entire franchise. The Gilliam Garcia ship is real, and it should be respected, and it's so wholesome. It's basically Dream Dad, and it's great. And then you got turn wheel tax. If you reset in the previous chapter, or loaded a save state or anything like that, you have to sack 1 random character. You have to pay your tithe to the turn wheel. And then the rest of this is just 28 double Jeopardies to fill out the board. So, let's say you're starting your game and you're on chapter 1 of, Path of Radiance. You're going to grab that wheel, you're going to spin that bad boy. Let's see what we get. Double Jeopardy, so we got 2 conditions that we got to play chapter 1 with, which would be popular baby names. So we can only use characters with popular baby names. So this is chapter 1 of Path of Radiance. We can't undeploy people, but unless I'm missing anyone, I think that means Oscar is soloing chapter 1. Okay, that's pretty cool. You like Oscar. You got to get him snowballed. And okay, that's a deployment one that actually cannot be adjusted on it. So again, like sometimes if they're not eligible or they're contradictory, you can't do it. And Liquidate Your Assets, that cannot be done actually in Path of Radiance chapter 1. early game can be pretty restrictive. So we got to spin until we got 2 that we can actually do. So sleeping in, we can do that. So we've got to solo the map with Oscar, and we've got to sleep in. So we can't move for 3 turns. And then once we can start moving, Oscar's our only combat unit that we can use. So good luck on getting the Angelic Robe in Chapter 1. If somebody can figure out how to do it, I congratulate you. You can probably pretty easily get the enemies early on, at least to just grind their entire bodies into the meat machines that are Oscar and Boyd. I forget who gets put out front. Maybe Titania does if you're lucky. But you sleep in for 3 turns, and then it's the Oscar show. And then, of course, obviously, I cast a seize. But, like, beyond those sort of conditions, you have to do it. And obviously, you can set your own rules as to, like, do Lord's count, our Lord's free deployments. Can you use, like, a Lord and Pillarmen if he's not one of the top 3? That's up to you, obviously, to decide. Choice is important, but fun is not important. Fun is entirely not allowed because it's for casuals, and we're not casuals here. I know that. That's why we're playing the wheel. So if you got any ideas, let me know, and I'll put the list of these in the description for you to be able to take these and make your own wheels and play and have a load of fun. I love this wheel so much. Maybe one day I will even live stream it, a little bit of it, and I'll want to die. But not like that's a change from any other time of the day, now is it? So I hope you all have a great time. And by the way, quick update here. We recently hit 4,000 subscribers. I don't know if I'm going to do anything for it. I would like to do maybe a special, maybe Q&A or something, but you'll hear about that later. But for now, I hope you all have a great day. And remember, fun is for casuals.